concern we have is that most of these folks that are going to retire are senior members of various departments. Who's going to take those positions?
Very important that we use our remaining resources after ERIP as prudently as possible. In addition to ERIP, we also, I think departments are carrying a record number of vacancies that I'm going to assume will be swept by the end of the fiscal year. So that's going to contribute greatly to the problem. Preparing for the immediate exodus of valuable long-term employees requires the leaders of this city to identify critical functions and staff them accordingly to ensure that those services that are most important to our residents are able to continue.
We have 2,500 who have filed within the window period when it opened.
2,500.
And an additional 400 that had filed previously. So we are oversubscribed.
So 2,900.
By approximately 500.
So we're going to free the general fund from those salaries. But those positions is the concern.
2,400 positions, 2,400 individuals that are eligible for ERIP. They are across all funding sources at this point in time. The objective is to move as many of them. Initially, the objective is to move everybody off the payroll immediately because we have a significant financial problem. After we get them off the payroll, then the objective is to move as many additional people from the general fund as possible into the special funds so that we can continue to retain that institutional knowledge and be able to be operational on the special funds. This will leave significant gaps on the general fund, and these are only the beginnings of those gaps because next year we will have additional gaps as we attempt to address the $400 million shortfall.
And on the essential functions, we need to make sure that people can step in to perform those essential functions. That's the key, that we want to make sure we have that gap covered with the bridge. However, we're going to do that, which obviously is incumbent upon you folks.
That's an area that we'll be looking at as it relates to training and as it relates to broadening the classifications. So, you know, unfortunately, because this was not a targeted retirement program,
right,
we had to wait until everybody submitted their request, and now we'll work on what the impact is going to be. But I think that, as I said earlier, in addition to these individuals that are retiring, all city departments have a significant number of vacant positions that they also are not able to fill. So that increases the void that departments are going to be experiencing. I say that I have a safety net that's available, but I don't know that it's very important that the council be aware of those things that are not going to be able to be done as a result of this downside.
Get the 2,400, get them off the payroll immediately, and then assess. It may be necessary to move additional ones into the retirement plan, but those individuals above the 2,400 are not guaranteed at this point in time of anything under.
Last day is December 16th. That's your ERIP application window closes. When can we get back from the personnel department the review of whatever else we have to do so we don't have a crisis mode the first part of 2010?
Well, we'll do everything in our power to do that, but just as an aside, I have 55 people from the personnel department who filed for ERIP, so there's a significant burden on the personnel department that we're going to have to address as it relates to how we do functions don't exist. The direct functions are not going to be able to do as well as they ought to be doing. You know, the best analogy that I can use is you take a piece of Swiss cheese, and that's what our organizations are going to look like, because the people who are leaving are sometimes the people who are the most critical to the operation. So those are the gaps that we're going to be responsible for closing, and I just want to make sure that I don't overpromise to the council that I've got some magic in my pocket, because we're just